So Elon Musk, I guess he released this information to Matt Taibbi. There's a lot to go through, a lot to go through. And the first handful of tweets were so boring. And I was like, okay, I'm out. Like, it's like exposition of, hey, you know, there was censorship and collusion. And we're like, yeah, we know that. And so, but finally, I think around tweet number 8, Matt Taibbi started to drop hard documents. What this shows is that Democrats had a strong direct line to Twitter to remove content that they felt should be removed. Let's just put it that way. It benefited them. They targeted people like real James Woods. Now, Matt Taibbi says both parties had access to these tools. However, he goes on to say the system wasn't balanced. It was based on context. Because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation, there were more channels, more ways to complain, open to the left, well, Democrats, than the right. He says the resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. So currently, he's releasing a lot of really interesting stuff. How about this one? White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the Hunter Biden laptop story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seethed at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. This led public policy executive Carolyn Storm to send out a polite WTF query. Several employees noted there was tension between the comms and policy teams who had little and less control over moderation and the safety and trust teams. I think the one of the big things here was that you have this. This is, let me just read the tweet. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Vijaya Gadde and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. But at this point, everyone knew this was effed, said one former employee. But the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. So we'll go through this. I'm not just going to track every single tweet. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what you've seen so far and then we'll bring up tweets as we go. Evidence of direct collusion. What do you think?
I think it's the least surprising thing in the world. Now, I'm glad we get to see the actual documents. I mean, I'm glad it's not just us assuming things because you're looking at actual emails here. But is anyone shocked tonight? Is anyone shocked to figure out that Twitter is staffed by a bunch of commies and that and that Twitter will censor out people with voices on the right and that Twitter has a direct line to people in the White House? This is how it's worked for a long time. This is why people don't worry about re-election when you're in the Democratic Party, because you jump right from the Joe Biden administration. You go work for Twitter or you go work for CNN or you go. It's all just what's that George Carlin saying? It's all one club and we're not in it.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not surprising at all. Half these people are probably going to go work for Joe Biden next week.
That's right.
Well, it's very interesting because obviously Democrats had more connections to Twitter. Twitter obviously had a lot of employees there that were also donating a lot of money to the DNC. But it was according to these leaks, both parties that had access to these tools and both parties, including the Donald Trump administration and his White House, had requested certain individuals be banned, and their requests were granted. Now, a couple of days ago, The Intercept launched a story about how the DHS was going around and banning people on big tech social media, predominantly because of a law passed by Donald Trump. So what was Donald Trump's involvement here? Did he create the tools? I mean, obviously, he passed a law with the DHS, according to The Intercept, that allowed all of this to happen from the very beginning. But did he set up the tools that entrapped him and hurt him eventually? I think that's worth asking today, especially with number 10, the reveal that Matt Taibbi talked about. And I think it's worth considering the larger implications of it.